Welcome to Frames team. Will Nikon launch a 50 megapixel camera with the technology from Red? Well, let's talk about it. But before I go there, I want to talk about Nikon's upcoming 35mm 1.2. Recently, there was a few pictures floating in the internet, and looks like Nikon is preparing to launch the 35 1.2. 35 1.2 is going to be a very interesting product in any brand's lens lineup. So let's, I think, talk about it, and we'll come back to the conversation of Nikon's Red camera. If you're new to the channel, or if you're discovering the channel for the second or third time, please subscribe, show some support. Please subscribe and help me reach 6,000 subscribers within a month. Now, when it comes to the optical quality of the upcoming 35 1.2, I have absolutely no doubt that Nikon is going to do a great job, because that has been their run rate. The run rate has been fantastic, and I would encourage you to look at this video. I'll link it somewhere, and you'll see I have ranked about some 35 Nikon lenses for the Z mount, and you'll see it's so hard to find lenses. That's just not good. It's difficult to find such lenses in the Nikon Z mount lineup. So I have absolutely no doubt about the image quality of that upcoming lens. My only worry is Nikon going to be careful about usability of that lens? And when I say usability, today's day and age, I only talk about size and weight. If you look at Nikon's long lenses, wildlife and birding lenses, you see there are fantastic lenses that are very compact, very lightweight, very compact. The 400 4.5, the 600 6.3, the 800 6.3, the 400 2.8 TC. If size and weight were not an issue, then we wouldn't see so much effort going into those lenses. And it's not new to Nikon's lens development philosophy. If you remember the 500 PF 5.6, that's an amazingly beautiful compact lens. So Nikon is not new to that idea. But look at some of the lenses that happened early on for the Z mount. The 70 to 200 2.8 from Nikon Z mount is one of the heaviest 70 to 200 from the large three brands. And Sony's 70 to 200 is actually almost 350 grams lighter than Nikon's. I'm just going to show you the weight of different 50 1.2 options that you have in the market right now from different manufacturers. I'm going to show the weight here or here somewhere, and just look at the difference between Nikon's size and weight of a 50 1.2 and Canon's and Sony's and Sigma's, and it becomes very clear. Remember, Nikon doesn't have a 1.4 line of lenses yet, so you don't even have a mid-range, you don't even have a sort of 1.4 lens that can get compact, that can get light, and where you prioritize size and weight. I think apart from being absolutely brilliant optically, it's important, especially for a 35 1.2 lens, to be light, to be compact, for it to balance well with the lens, because a 35mm lens is something that you want to be mobile with. You're not just going to put it on a tripod and shoot with a 35mm lens. Well, we may, but most people who shoot 35mm lens, you explore creative angles. You really explore. You want to be mobile with that lens. All right. So, and I really, in fact, the reason I didn't buy the 51.2 from Nikon, despite that being a fantastic lens, is because I think it doesn't balance well with the cameras. Even with the Z9, I don't think it balances as well as the Sony's 51.2 does with any of the Sony bodies. I think that precisely is the next optical challenge: how to maintain the fantastic image quality of the Nikon Z glass without making it so bulky and so heavy. Nikon have done it, like I said, in the tele lenses. Now it's time for Nikon to do it for this one, for the 35 1.2. And I would like to see the Plena-like quality, an image circle larger than the sensor size. I like to see that happen for the 35 1.2 as well. And I would like to see also, I think it's time for Nikon to now introduce aperture dials on the lens, like clickable aperture dials on the lens, like Fuji, like Sony. because after the Red acquisition, I think people will naturally expect cinema ready autofocus lenses from Nikon, and a 35mm focal length is very important for that. And also the other expectation is that I'm anticipating that the 35 1.2 will get released with the Z6 III, and I'm thinking that it's both of them should come out within a month. That's the expectation in my head. Moving on, Nikon's Red camera, yeah. Apparently, Nikon is actually working on a phone with a 50 megapixel sensor with actually have been dabbling with the idea of making phones, and they have actually made a phone which didn't do well in the market. I think it's an absurd choice. Is the most absurd thing I've heard. Unless I mean, it can make sense as a system that provides seamless mobile operation for any of Nikon or Red's cameras, and if it can work as an external monitor and as an interface for those cameras, and at the same time double up as a phone, there it makes sense. I don't think phone buyers are going to shift to something like a Nikon or Red made phone. I think it's going to be primarily photographers and filmmakers and Nikon or Red users who would consider buying a phone like that, and they would actually want better interoperability with their devices via that phone. In that way, it would make sense. When you make such technologies, as a result, there are a lot of byproduct that comes out. Maybe all the things that you've been talking about, seamless integration with iOS and Android phones, better security, trackability of these devices, better transfer facility to phones, better transfer facility of heavy files directly from the camera. Those things may happen as a byproduct of this effort, and that's one thing that makes me excited about this whole phenomena. But other than that, I don't know who's going to actually buy a Nikon Red Nikon Red phone. As an ecosystem extension for better usability and better operation, it makes sense. Apparently, this phone will have 2 TB internal memory and 16 GB RAM. So it sounds like it's a phone where you're going to, just quickly shoot stuff. It's just your secondary, very mobile camera phone that's going to give you very high fidelity files in video, very good image quality, and also the Red and Nikon codec, the tiny RAW from Nikon and the Red RAW from Red. It's a developing story. Let's see what happens. I think at this stage, Nikon is just indulging in Red's fantasies and fancies. And I think going forward, after seeing through this project, Nikon and Red will be ready to work on some serious things. And in fact, it'll be very curious to see if we see anything coming from Red onto the Z6 III. That's going to be something that I think all of us should actually watch out for and see what happens there. So to me, sounds like a temporary distraction to me, this phone thingy. I don't know what's going to come out of this. Let's see, wait and watch. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you like this conversation, subscribe. There are more than 200 videos on this channel. Lens reviews, camera reviews, deep understanding of the Nikon ZF. Get all those content, all that sort of content on this channel. So if you like that, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to see you soon with another one soon.